just get this also up here. Give everybody one more minute and then I'll get started. So I want to be mindful of your time. While I'm doing this, I will share my screen here. Okay, should be able to see my PowerPoint. Let me just make sure I have that view also. Okay, good. All right. Yeah, all right, I will get started and then I'll just let anybody else in who comes in as we're going through here. For those of you that don't know me, which I think might actually be everybody, I mean, you've probably gotten emails from me, but we've never chatted. I'm Lindsay Griffiths. I'm the International Lawyers Network's Executive Director. And we'd like to officially welcome your office to the ILN. McDonald Hopkins has been a member since 1999, actually. I looked it up so I would know that for sure, but we just officially welcomed the Chicago office to the ILN. We're very excited to have you all on board with us officially. And if you can feel free to interrupt me at any time with questions. If you'd prefer not to use your microphone to do that, you can type them into the chat box. I will make sure I put that up here so that I can see it. So either way is fine. Interrupt me, ask me any questions, that's fine. I sent over some sort of frequently used terms, but this was a while ago to Jeff and Dave. And I'm not sure if they shared them around with you or not. Sometimes this new membership comes with a whole new language. So some of these things may or may not sound familiar to you. So if anything doesn't, just let me know and I'm happy to address that with you. So just briefly, the International Lawyers Network, which is also known as the ILN, was founded in 1988, and during its 32-year history has grown into a strong association of over 90 law firms with over 5,000 lawyers worldwide. We are in 67 countries on 6 continents. The network's firms provide clients with easily accessible legal services. They're all independent firms that are mid-sized in their jurisdictions, with a focus on growing and developing new clients, which is very similar to your firm. They have a strong domestic focus and experience coupled with significant expertise in international business, and everybody has English fluency. All ILN member firms go through a rigorous screening process prior to being admitted to membership, and in many instances, we rely on existing relationships with member firms and them making a recommendation to us to bring in a firm. That's really the way that that works best for us. So actually, McDonald Hopkins predates me. I've been with the ILN for just about 16 years. So I'm actually not sure how McDonald Hopkins came in. That's new to me. So here is a look at some of our high quality ILN member firms, including, of course, your firm. So now on to the good stuff, the benefits of the ILN, particularly referrals, our administration, and then sort of what's available to you through your membership. Number one, referral partners. ILN members are your trusted referral partners. Through our website, which we'll take a look at in a moment, you have instant access to member firms who will always respond to your referral request within 24 hours. It's not necessarily that they're going to have the answers, but they'll let you know that they've received the referral in that 24-hour period. We conduct a biannual referral survey in January and June of July of every year for the preceding 6 months. And that's really for 2 reasons. One, to keep track of those referrals so we have an idea of what the activity in the network is. I say an idea because every firm is different in terms of how they track referrals. So we generally assume that the referrals are underreported, but it gives us a pretty good gauge of what the business of the ILN is like, but it's also a quality track for us. We ask some quality questions in that referral survey. And that allows us to keep an eye on the level of quality within the network. But we don't just leave it there. We also invite members to let us know if there is at any point any question of quality, responsiveness, anything that members may feel is not being addressed properly or correctly at any time. And sometimes, that may come down to just a cultural issue. We feel that a lot of times the burden is on the firm that's making the referral to ensure that any issues of fees, the scope of the work, who's going to be handling the communication with the client, all of those things need to be discussed sort of at the outset so that everybody is on the same page when making those referrals, and that things are handled in a manner that everybody everyone's expectations are being met. But we are actually extending that process over the next year. I'm working with our executive committee, and we're going to be developing a process by which we're going to be doing a 360 review of our member firms. We're starting with a few firms, and we'll be expanding that over time, but it's an opportunity for us to do a deeper dive into some of our member firms and ultimately all of our member firms, but also for them to give us feedback on how we're doing. And see, what we could be doing better as an organization as well, and make sure that everyone is sort of up to the same level. Obviously, some of our member firms have been around for a long time. Many of them, like your firm, have grown tremendously and are doing tremendously well. And other firms maybe haven't grown as much. And so while we're not looking to kick anybody out, of course, we want to make sure that all of our firms are meeting the needs of all of our members, and that when we say you have trusted referral partners in all of these jurisdictions, that we really mean that. So that is really what our goal is there. So when you have a referral, there are 3 ways that you can go about finding the right partner. And the first 2 are really the best. I'll go into the third as well, but the first 2 are really the way that we recommend you do it. The first one is by contacting me. You can reach out to me and say, I've got a referral in this place, or with this particular practice need, who do you recommend that I contact? And I can let you know who that is and either make the introduction for you or just reinforce that the person you're thinking of is the right person. Anytime you're making a referral, we suggest that you copy me on that initial request. And there's 2 reasons for that. One, emails are going off into the ether these days. There's a lot of times where they either go into spam or they just don't get there at all. And if you don't hear from me, at least that, has this person followed up with you, that the email didn't get there at all. So that's just an extra check that the technology is working. That happens a lot. More and more these days too. And the second reason is that I can then keep it in our referral report so that we're tracking to make sure that that those referrals are getting counted. And there's really a third reason too, and that is that it confirms to the firm that's receiving the referral that you're a member of the ILN, and so they're going to pay that extra bit of special attention. The second way is you contact the ambassador at your firm. An ambassador is the term that we use to talk about the contact person that serves as the liaison between the ILN and your firm. And that person will also be the one who is developing the relationships between your firm and other firms in the ILN. So they'll also be the most knowledgeable about where to go within the ILN for different kinds of expertise. The third way is to look at our website, of course, and I'll show you in a few moments about how you can do that and find the firm button, locate people. Again, if you go that route, which is totally fine, that's what our website is there for, make sure you copy me on that initial referral just for those reasons that I stated before. I will be sending you a document after this call, which is going to have all of this information in it, so don't feel like you need to either remember it or write it down. I don't expect you to do that. In terms of receiving referrals, I did mention before that we expect that everyone responds to the referring firm within 24 hours just to confirm that they've gotten the request and that they're working on it. So we obviously ask that you do that too. Does anybody have any questions on referrals at the moment?
Is there a full list somewhere of all the firms?
Yes. So we have 2 ways of looking. You can look through the website and they're listed by country, but there is also one full list that's a PDF of everybody and the individual ambassadors, and I'll show you where that is too.
And does that list contain the specialties of the firm?
It doesn't. And, you know, that is something else that we need to be working on. We are hopefully as part of our goals for next year, going to be reworking our website. And that's one of the things that we need to be doing better, is better defining what the specialties are of each firm. As I'm sure you've all experienced, one of the things we also as an organization have trouble with is firms being honest about what their true specialties are. Because when you ask someone, they say, we're good at everything. So we have a pretty good idea of what some firms' real excellent practice areas are over others. Some firms are better at defining that than others. And we do have a section on our website, which I'll also show you, of what we call specialty groups. And that is sort of the practice areas that we do have the firms focus on. And again, you know, that is another area where you can search and find people in specific specialty areas that we've defined. But that list, unfortunately, doesn't list people's specialties. Okay. So the administrative oversight is our sort of one of our main things. I am a resource for you here. My contact information is on our website. You can reach out to me pretty much all the time. I can't always promise to be awake, but a lot of the time I am. We also, our former executive director, Alan Griffiths, who we share the same name because he's my dad. He retired at the end of last year, but he is a consultant for us, and he's also available as a resource. His contact information is also on our website. So he is still a good resource too, and he also has a lot of institutional knowledge about the ILN. And the main purpose for us is to just be here as a resource, whatever you need. Referral assistance is obviously the number one thing. As I mentioned, my dad has a lot of institutional knowledge. I have a lot of institutional knowledge. Teresa, I think your question as it relates to the specialties is a really important one, because at the moment, a lot of that information is sort of in our heads, and that's something that we need to translate into a place where it's more accessible to you to just look it up, as opposed to having to ask me for it. And so that is one of the things that we're working on. So it's more in a database that you can just access instead of always having to come to one of us for that. So that is something that is a goal of ours in the next website refresh. Okay. Let's see. So in addition to the referrals, let's talk about some other things that you can do to make the most out of your membership. I'm not going to go through all of them because there's a lot, but I will go through the highlights for you. ILN conferences. Obviously, at the moment, we're not getting together in person, but when we do, they really are a highlight. However, that being said, we are having a virtual conference the first week in November, November 2nd to the 6th, which is open to everyone. There's no cost. The reason that we've spread it out over that week-long period is that we're having a lot of different events. They're going to be at all different time zones, and I've treated it as sort of an a la carte experience so that you can look and see what events make the most sense in your schedule, what things look most interesting to you, and participate and register for the things that you really want to be a part of. So I will just show you real quick the conference website, and we can take a look at that. Let's go over here to our website real quick. So this is the conference website. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. You can take a look at it yourself. Hopefully all of you got the email for this, but if you didn't, let me know and I will reshare it with you. The main thing is the agenda, and that's going to give you the events for each day. And there'll be a registration button that goes with each of those, which either takes you to a Zoom registration, or if they're concurrent events, it's a different kind of registration. So we had sent out an email asking everyone what they really wanted to see from this conference. And the number one thing was the ability to get together and network and talk to each other. So that's really what the main focus is. There are a few things, like you'll see, we're still waiting on a speaker. I'm just waiting to confirm that. for business development, some roundtable discussions that are really developed around specific topics that we had requested. And then breakouts, again, that's with the goal of networking, but around specific practice area topics. And a couple of things on Thursday: firm optimization and health, data privacy. So again, there's a lot of things that we're going to be doing this week. You're invited to attend as much or as little as you want, where it's open to everyone in the network. And we are really, really excited about it. I think it's going to be a really great and interesting event across the network. So I think it's a really great opportunity for all of us. So although we're not having anything in person for the immediate future, and we're still working on when the next in-person event is going to be, this is going to be a really exciting opportunity for all of us to do the next best thing. And as soon as it is healthy and safe to do so, we will be back to meeting in person. So that's our goal there. And then when we are back to meeting in person, we will, those events really are the showpiece of our network. And lots of people who have gone, or everyone who goes to those says that whether it's their first conference or their 100th conference, it's like a family reunion. That's the opportunity that everyone takes to really get to know each other, to share information, to network. It's a mix of social and business events that really give people the opportunity to understand each other's practices, how people interact with each other on a professional and a personal level, and really share some great information. So I highly recommend that if you're able to attend an in-person conference as well, that you take that opportunity to do that. So, and those events are also open to everybody. I know some people will sometimes think that those are only open to our ambassadors. That's not the case. It's totally open to however the firm decides they'd like to allocate those events, but we welcome everyone to attend, however the firm decides works best for them. So another way to engage in the ILN is with our specialty groups. I alluded to them before. We have these practice and industry specific groups, and they're really a way to sort of push down the ILN on a more lateral level and network with people that share the same practice and specialty areas that you do. So at the moment, these are the groups that we have. And again, this is not an exclusive list of the practice areas that our firms represent. These are just the areas that we are currently focused on in terms of specialties for these groups, in terms of networking. So it's not an extensive list. So the way to get involved in those is if any of those, and I'll go back for a second, if any of those look interesting to you and you're not currently involved in them yet, just let me know and I will add you to the list for that. You can also sit in on any of the sessions that are going to be taking place at the upcoming conference and see if any of them sound interesting to you, if any of the ideas that they have coming up for some of their projects sound interesting to you. They're all at varying levels of activity, depending on what their goals are and what their sort of projects are. So that's a pretty big range for them. This is something else we recommend at the moment. Again, sort of put a pin in this, but there are things you can do even in a virtual world. We call it traveling. And the idea behind this is that when the world is opened up, you're obviously doing, before COVID, a lot of travel for personal and professional reasons. And we recommend that you add on some travel to your regular travel to visit with ILN members in other cities. So if you are going to a conference, if you are going to visit a client, meet with the ILN member that's in that city and add on to form those relationships with people that are there. Because, it may seem like a lot of extra networking, and it is, but often it helps put you top of mind with those lawyers so that when they have business, they're going to send it to you. Now, in a pandemic world like we're living in, you still may be attending conferences virtually. You may be doing other things virtually. So there's a couple of things we recommend. One, if you are attending conferences, take a look at the list and see if there are ILN members that may also be attending. You can sometimes, even if you get the list, send it to me. I'm happy to do the legwork of looking up which other ILN members may be attending, and then reach out to them and maybe schedule some one-on-one Zoom calls. if you take a look at sort of the top 3 jurisdictions where you expect to be sending the most work out to and receiving the most work in from, look at which ILN members are located in those cities and reach out to them and set up some one-on-one Zoom meetings. And again, as I said, it does feel like a lot of extra work, and it is extra work, but though we've found that when the members do that work, it does actually result in more work for them, more referrals for them, and sometimes, you know, new work for both firms. So it is worth it. It's just investing that time. Okay, so let's take a look at our website. This is a quick look at it here. We have, it's at ilntoday.com. You can also go to iln.com. Either one will take you to the website. You may have already checked it out. That's possible. This is our Find a Firm button. I will go and show you what that looks like over on the website in a moment. We also have our Firm of the Month feature, which will give you a little more in-depth view of that firm. You've probably gotten that email from me in the past. We have our social media links there. It's a great place to connect with other ILN members in those groups. I will mention too that in our LinkedIn group, we actually have a lot of in-house counsel. So that's a great place if you're thinking about posting some of your own content. I would highly recommend doing that in the main LinkedIn group, because there's actually, they don't ever comment themselves, but I've spoken with a number of them and they are reading the things that are being posted in there, which are primarily posted by me. So if someone else would post, I think that would be helpful. Okay, let's go back. All right, so I will
Can I ask a question about that?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, sorry to jump in. But,
Oh, please do.
So I'm guessing that inside counsel are at least part of your LinkedIn group, because sometimes they want to reach out directly to an attorney in a foreign country without going through, I guess it's their local attorney to do so.
Yeah.
So do you see a lot of corporate attorneys or inside counsel from outside the US that
Yeah.
are they're members of your LinkedIn group or the organization in general?
Yes, it's both. So it's both in-house counsel that are domestic to the US, and it's in-house counsel that are outside the US that are part of the LinkedIn group. So I would assume that that would cover, you know, counsel that may be looking for US assistance as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Lindsay. This is Isabel DeBay-Kleniak. I have a question.
Sure.
You able in your, when you list the firms, to list language skills? I mean, obviously, if you're in the US, you speak English, but for example, I'm a French native, and I am also, there's special credentials I was wondering, such as I am the honorary consul for France in Cleveland and in Columbus. So I can definitely, that has, you know, that can be useful for a company. So is there a way to display this, or how can we take advantage of that?
There isn't currently, but now that you're saying that, that's a good idea, because I know, for example, many firm sites would do that on a profile. So maybe that is something we could do. I was mentioning before that we're looking to update our website starting next year, and that is something we could do. So for example, I mean, all of our firms have English fluency, but as you say, I mean, you have a French fluency as well. And I know, you know, that would obviously be true for some other firms. And, you know, some of, like, our chairwoman speaks, I think, 5 or 6 languages now. So those kinds of things would be useful, especially depending on the type of business that people are looking for. So I will definitely add that in for our update and the types of things that we're looking to communicate.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure. Does anybody have anything else? Okay. So let's just take a quick look at our website. So 2 things. At the moment, I know our website is really a little bit on the clunky side. When we moved over to LexBlog, who hosts our website, they really wanted to focus on it looking kind of like a news site, which is not my preference. So I recognize that it really looks like a news site, and focuses a lot on firm news. So if that's what you're looking for, that's great. But if you're a member firm and you're looking to just connect with other ILN members, that's, we'll focus on that. So if you are looking for other news or anything, that's really here on the left side. The main ways to find a firm, if you're looking to identify the contact information, this is what you want to do. You want to just look at this find a firm button. Everybody's going to be listed by country. So let's say you're looking in England. When you first click on it, you're going to get this first page, and that's going to be true for every firm. And the reason for that is that in some countries, there are going to be multiple firms. That's obviously, like in the US, that would be the case. That's not true for England. We've just got one firm there. But you would click again on the firm name, and then you get the complete firm profile. So each firm profile is defined by the firm. And they also define who is listed under there as partners. And then these are the firm contacts, which is what I also called the ambassadors before. So these are the ambassadors. Under there, you get their contact information, which practice groups and which specialty groups they're in. This list is either very short, somewhere in the middle, or very long. And that's, again, defined by the firm. So in this case, Fladgate decided they wanted to have a limited number of partners here. This isn't a complete list of their partners, and that's how they've identified this. And then we'll also have office locations. So if a firm has more than one location, they can list that, or if they only have one, that's how that will appear here. I will also show you real quick so you have an idea of what the US looks like. So you'll also see here at the top, view all ILN member offices in USA. What we do is if we have firms, which we do obviously, have firms that have overlapping offices. So for example, Chicago, we have a number of firms with offices in Chicago, but McDonald Hopkins is the only representative for us in Chicago. So in this main list, you'll be the only office that appears here. But if you were to click this button or this link here, then all of our member firms with offices in every city would show up in this list. So currently, if you scroll down to Illinois, you're the only firm that's listed there. So then you can see this is the profile that's been agreed to. Those are your contacts. And then currently the only partners that are listed there are Jeff and Dave. But all of your office locations are also listed. This is listed as the main location because it's the main location for this particular office listing. But in our main listing for Cleveland, that's the main office there. So we're also hoping to figure out how that works better when we redesign the website. So that's the main way we suggest looking for a firm. Now, you asked before about how to see the member firm list on one listing. So if you go to download our member list, this is the PDF version, and that will give you the full list. This also has everyone's photos, gives you their country, their contact information, their photos. This is a good list if you'd like to see. It will give you at the bottom the last date it was updated, which is helpful. So this can be useful if you want to share that with a potential client. So if they want an idea of, which firms we have in the network, that can be helpful. So that's a good way to use this list, for example. Another thing you can use for that purpose is a copy of our brochure is also on here. Something else to know, if you do have a client that you're looking to provide information on sort of the ILN, if there's something that you'd like to give them that's a little more customized, you can let me know. I'm happy to work on something with you and create something that's more particular just for that client. So that's something that we can do together as well. So just let me know and we can do something along those lines. Just a couple other things. Our upcoming events are listed here. I'll mention one thing about this. We have these partnership events. These are things that are not so much ILN events, but we are working with the organization in these cases. And we normally have a a conference code that will give you a discount. We are working we get an in-kind trade of services. So we're highlighted as an organization with these, and it's sort of like a sponsorship without having to pay any sponsorship money. So it's a way for us to be highlighted and get some promotion with these events. So if you ever see anything here that looks interesting to you and you'd like to get more information, you can let me know, and I'll either put you in touch with the events organizer, or I might even have that information. So that's just something to be aware of. And the last thing I'll show you is our specialty groups, because something that might be of relevance is, let's take a look at the IP group. So you go into the individual groups and you'll get their information here, just a brief profile about them and sort of what they're up to. You'll see the 2 chairs of the group, and then you've got this search bar here. You can see either the list of what we call the main firm contacts, and that's whoever the firm is designated as the main person for this particular group, or everyone in the group. But the interesting thing too is that you can search for members in this specialty. Now, one of the things that the IP group has done is they've broken this down by specialty within the IP group, which is great. So everyone who does licensing and distribution agreements has let me know, and then you can search just for that person, just for those people within the group. A couple of the other groups have done similar things for their practice areas. You can also search just for firm names. So if you know that if you're looking for example, Davis and Gilbert for IP work, you can look for them. Or if you're looking for someone who does IP in Italy, you can look them up too. So that can be really helpful if you're doing a search for specialty within that. So obviously that's something we'd like to expand across the board for all practice areas and not just the groups that we have designated within this. So that's something that we're going to be working on for the next iteration here. So any questions on any of that?
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
So what is there an additional membership level to get an office listed on your site? Like I don't see our Detroit office. I don't see our West Palm Beach, Florida office listed.
I mean, yes and no is the answer. It depends. I will speak like a lawyer. So the reason that you don't have those offices listed is because we have main firms there, and that's the reason. So Detroit, we have Howard and Howard. So they're a full member there. So you would see that office listed if we did the search for all offices. And technically, so let's see, like Florida, you would see your offices are listed there. But because we have Schutz and Bowen in Florida, and they're considered our Florida member, we don't list you on the main page. And same reason for Detroit, we have Howard and Howard as our main members, so they are technically our Michigan member. And so that's the reason. It's not so much another membership level, it's that if you wanted to be a full member in those states, if we were looking for a full member in those states, we would look for we would have you probably apply as a full member, but since we're not even looking for a full member in those states, it's not really an issue to be discussed at the moment.
Understood.
If that makes sense.
Second question, I understood.
Okay.
Second question is, how do you get the information about, let's say, my specialties as an IP attorney to then show up on that kind of those different sub
I would ask
categories for IP?
I would
Okay.
ask you.
All right.
Yeah. So that comes directly from the lawyers. We ask them what we had done was we asked anybody who's in the IP group and is in the distribution list. We asked them to obviously be in the group first, and then ask them for their specialties. So that comes directly from the lawyers. Anything else? Okay. All right. Let's go back over here. Okay, so the other thing we have, and this is again a pain, but we have a mobile site. The reason we went to a mobile site and not an app is that we obviously, because of the nature of the business, we have a lot of updates to our member firm lawyers. And if you do an app, every time you have a member firm update, you would have to have the members download an update to their app. So rather than put the burden of that onto you, we just created this mobile site, which unfortunately has a separate and distinct address that my web developers will not link to our website yet. So that's something we're working on. So if you go to ilnmobile.com, you can find it. We'll take a look at what that looks like here. This is the main homepage. And then you enter it and you get this firm list. Obviously, if you're on the mobile site, your goal is to find another member firm. We assume that you're not looking for any other information. What you want to find is another lawyer. So let's say you're looking in South America for another law firm. You would, if you know the firm's name, you can search right at the top for the firm name, but otherwise you're going to get the firm list, and all of the firms are listed alphabetically by country. So you get a full profile when you click on one of these firms, the same as you would get on the website, but the information is prioritized differently. So in this case, you see that you get the website at the top, the contact information at the beginning, because we're assuming that if you're on your mobile device, your goal is to get the contact information of that person. You can always scroll down and see the profile information if you want it, but what you need is that contact information. So you can email right from this. I'm using an iPhone in this case, but you can email right from there. You can click to call the person if you want to, or you can even email the whole page. So if one of your lawyers in the firm says, does anybody know a lawyer at, in this country, you can say, yep, I have this page, send it right from your phone. And you can either adapt that message or you can just send it as it is. So that's how that works. It's very easy to use, and you can even set it up to look like an app on your phone by putting an icon right on your desktop, and we have information for that in the document that I'll send you after this call. And that is it. So if you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer them. But as I mentioned before too, I'm available all the time to answer questions as well. So anytime you come up with them, I'm happy to answer them too. Any other questions I can answer?
Lindsay, you mentioned posting things on the ILN's LinkedIn page.
Yeah.
That's things that members can do on their own. They don't have to send it to you to have it posted.
Yes. So we can do it both ways. I mean, I already post things for McDonald Hopkins anyway, both on our website and in our social media networks. But if there is something that you have that you've written, or an idea or a question or anything along those lines, you can certainly post it in there, and you don't have to run it by me. I trust all of you. So, you're grown-ups.
So how are you getting communications to post from McDonald Hopkins? Is it from our marketing group, what they send out where you can share all?
Yeah, so I'm subscribed to your newsletters. So I get those, and then I will publish them to our website, and then take the things that I think might be more globally relevant, and I'll share them through all of our social media.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. But if there's something, like if you think I've missed something, not that you're studying my social media by any means, but if you think there's something particularly interesting that I may have missed, or something, if you have a speaking opportunity or an article you've published and you think Lindsay should really promote this, send it to me and say, I just want to draw your attention to this, and I'll make sure that I do it.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I feel like that might be a good thing for us to mention to marketing as well, that they can also post our webinars or other speaking engagements. ILN.
And I do post, because you guys are pretty good with webinars. So your webinars are ones that I definitely, I know you've just done that series on cybersecurity, I think the boot camp. And so that's been on our website. But yeah, those types of things are great to let me know about so that I can make sure to share them. Okay. Well, thanks so much. I really appreciate your time. And if there's anything else, please don't hesitate to let me know. I'm always around, as I said.
One last thing on the LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I noticed that there's only about 600 connections in your LinkedIn page, and you have what 5,000 plus attorneys, I guess, at least significantly more than 600, I think, in terms of all your member attorneys. So how do you have? Do you try to promote the members and becoming part of your network, your LinkedIn network?
I do. So there's a couple of things I should say about that. So our group is open to in-house counsel and our lawyers. On our page, which is separate, we have almost 8,000 followers. So that also gets ILN information promoted. So that's much bigger than our group. If a member leaves the network, I will pull them out of the group just to avoid competition. But unless they go in-house, then I keep them in. But yes, so I do go through periodically and invite people who are in my my personal profile who are ILN members and invite them into the group so that we continue to build that LinkedIn group as well.
Thank you.
Because that's the I tried to. I could only follow. I couldn't join when
Oh, really?
I think so, but I'm following it. I think.
Okay.
I just tried to join, and I think you just have to get approved. That's
Yep.
all. I'm
Yes,
waiting
I
for
see that.
approval.
I will approve you. I approved you. Yes.
I will try it as soon as I'm done with this email.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I don't see the. Yeah, I don't see the.
I will.
option.
I'll invite you, Isabella.
Thank you. Mhm.
Please just invite me
well.
too, please.
Yes. Yep.
You can tell
Keep our
we're very
lives simple.
LinkedIn
Thank you.
focused.
Yeah, that would be easier. Oh, I don't think we're connected, Teresa.
That's not good.
No,
And who's your Ohio firm?
it's you. It's your firm.
So, but are we on the homepage for Ohio?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. 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 Since 1999.
perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I always talk about McDonald Hopkins as one of my favorite firms. And
You say that to all the firms.
No, I don't. I always say McDonald Hopkins is like the poster child for my ideal firm because, you know, during times of downturn, you guys grow.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I definitely don't say that to all the firms. I lie to some of the other firms. No, I love you guys. You guys are great. So that's why, I mean, we had to turn down another firm who wanted the Chicago office for McDonald Hopkins, and we caused some bad feelings, but I think it was the right decision. So
Cool. Okay.
yeah. So yeah, it's good. All right. Well, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And stay safe, everyone. And please let me know if there's anything else I can do.
Same here. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.